Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're taking on a serious restoration project regarding my first generation Mazda 6. As you could tell, I had severe rust eating through the roof. It even started leaking into the cabin. In doing so, this could cause many issues, so we need to get to work. In today's video, I'm going to be treating the area, applying filler, and fixing all this rust and potentially getting rid of it forever. This also includes the miscellaneous areas such as the quarter panel. This video is a long one, so make sure to get some snacks, and without further ado, let's get to work. The first main thing before we even start are safety glasses. These are very important, especially because we're dealing with projectile stuff like Bondo. This can just help over time and prevent any injuries that could happen to our eyes. That's what safety glasses are for. The next thing would be a sanding block. This is a 3M sanding block that works with basically any type of sanding paper, and it can just help with us leveling out the surface when we sand down our Bondo. The next obviously important thing would be sandpaper. This goes with the sanding block to make sure that we can even sand in the first place. We have two types here. We have wet and dry, and we have normal 150 grit to sand down the Bondo. The piece of resistance for this project would be our fiberglass Bondo filler. I have two of these just to make sure I don't run out whenever I'm applying it. To spread the filler, I have these Bondo branded spreaders to go well with it. To fill any pinholes or low points in our Bondo work, I have spot and glaze putty. This dries faster than Bondo and is thinner to apply, meaning that it can get sanded down faster and get sanded down to a more fine level. Now, let's get started. I first want to start by cleaning the area with isopropyl alcohol on the quarter panel to get it nice and clean to get it ready for the sanding process. By using alcohol, it can clean and get rid of all contaminants that could possibly show up when we paint it or when we even apply Bondo. After cleaning the panel, we could finally get started on the sanding process. I'm starting here with 150 grit, but I do move towards an 80 grit sandpaper, and eventually I even move to a flap disc on an angle grinder to clean off all rust and get rid of everything.
Well, the camera unfortunately cut out. This is what I got down to. Over here they tried to apply some type of patch and it just didn't stand. It's like a fiberglass filler. It's okay, everything's sanded down smooth. I did end up using a flap disc because it would just take literally forever to use sandpaper. So went down there, put this blanket up so I didn't get any in my interior. Obviously there's a little pocket there, so it was pretty much useless, but it's fine. I went under here. I don't know if that's showing up, but I went under here, cleaned that up. There is still a little bit of rust there, which I'm just gonna break out. And under here I went under as well, as you can tell. So the next thing is I want to go take off the wheel, and I want to go take off the this little under part here, the wheel cover well thing. Take that off, and then I want to get under the quarter panel so it just doesn't rust again.
Taking off the wheel and spraying the part underneath the fender liner underneath the quarter panel is a very important step in rust removal, especially with a rust reformer, or if we even use like an undercoating to prevent rust from happening in the future.
All right, that thing is so dusty. So I'm glad I did this because you can kind of just really see what's going on. So if we turn off flash and we look behind the panel, there is a bit of rust. So I'm gonna go clean this up a little bit more with a flap disc, and I'll be back.
Like I said before, eliminating all rust is a very big necessity when it comes to stuff like this, just to prevent the rust from spreading even more. Because if you think about it, rust is like a cancer, and it'll just keep spreading and spreading and spreading throughout the panel, and eventually will delete the whole panel and devour it all into rust. So using this flap disc to get rid of everything just helps me a little bit more and gets rid of all that a little bit faster than before, and also just gets rid of all that cancer as well.
All right, so we did this to clean it up a bit more. I want to go slap rust reformer on it now.
As you guys can clearly see, it's a pain in the ass to spray something that you can't see, and I'm just kind of going a little bit liberal here. I did 3 coats of it. I'm not going to show all of it, but you get the gist of it. Here's the results. As you can tell, most is covered. It's the best I could really do. Again, my POV is garbage, so this is the best that I can get, and I'll take it. Now, this is about all I can do for this side, as this part needs a cut and weld job. But now, let's move on to the more serious part, and the part that even started this journey, the roof.
Oh, fuck. What the fuck, man? It's too much work. Oh god, I gotta redo this whole thing. So as you can tell, I took out the windshield. As you can tell, this is very dusty. So I'm gonna go get a vacuum, suck all this out.
I did end up using this little shitty vacuum for a little bit. I don't know why. I I genuinely have no idea. I did move on to a more powerful shop vac later in the video. Just bear with me here, I was not feeling myself. I mean, all that's considered, it did clean it up pretty well. Now we're gonna hit it with this sanding block with this sandpaper that I found. Anything really to knock down this rust, because we're gonna fill this all up with rust reformer. This is gonna be nice.
Tomorrow.
Alright, I don't care anymore. Grinder time. Flop disc. Same way Lego this.
Obviously, as you guys can tell, I moved on towards an angle grinder because it just speeds things up drastically. It's obviously safe to do this if you're doing it in moderation, if that makes sense. Basically, if I'm not pressing too hard, I can't burn through the metal. If I'm pressing too soft, it's not going to do anything at all. I got this car for $500, just a little FYI, and I've just been fixing it every now and then. I like doing it, I find as a pastime.
You serious?
And I'm doing this just to, make it mine and to make it stop raining in the interior because I don't like that.
I just took out this piece of trim right here.
Like I said with the quarter panel, we need to eliminate all rust. We can't have a little bit remaining or else it'll just spread again. We want everything gone, so that's why I'm even going inside this trim valley thing just to eliminate everything and sand everything off.
So that's probably as good as we're gonna get it. I want to just reform this whole edge here after we wipe it down with some isopropyl alcohol. I'm gonna go get a rag and we're gonna do that. We're using the same stuff on the quarter panel. We're using a trim clad rust reformer. It's flat black and it acts like a primer.
So we apply rust reformer to the channel of the windshield as well as the top of the roof just to kill everything and convert everything to a paintable and workable surface. We clean up any type of overspray with isopropyl alcohol and a rag. Not that serious. If we get it done now, it won't stick to the paint or have any adhesion, so it should be fine.
Now, again, starting with 80 grit sandpaper, going along the whole top of the windshield, and we're gonna go do the exact same thing that we did to this side. As you guys can tell right here, this is dry now. It's been about a day. It's very porous. I wanna go knock this down and I wanna go put lightweight filler over top of here so it's level. We can also see the paint line because it was also really watery. So to get the bottom to fill, another pass of 80 grit to sand it down just enough to have a mechanical interference with the Bondo.
Yeah, scratch that 80 grit sandpaper nonsense, went straight with the angle grinder with the flap disc, and it killed all our rust almost immediately. By far one of the fastest and best ways to get rid of rust, so that's fine with me.
Oh, get me out of this fucking get me out of this dash.
Sorry about the poor cinematography. I'm really paying attention here not to get a bunch of overspray on the already existing paint. And yes, before I get any type of comments, I did clean the surface before painting.
So as you guys can clearly tell, everything has been reformed. It's all drying as we speak. I just wanted to take its time. I don't want to rush it type of thing. After it's done, we're gonna have to work on this area right here. I'm gonna give it a nice clean before we jump to anything. And it's just looking like it's gonna need a bit more dented down, so we'll do that. I just bought this brand new hammer. It's very nice. It's a hickory handle. I got them on sale. Let's see how it does here.
The reason why we're denting in the area is for the filler to conform to the shape of the roof. We don't want it bubbled up or higher than anything else. It's just gonna look awkward. So if we have it down, we get to fill more filler in there, make it stronger, and have it contour to the body line better.
That's perfect. I want to create a divot so I can sand it flat on the surface. I don't care how bad it looks. It's gonna look good whenever I have that lightweight filler in there. I added more paint here for a reason. Having this divot here will give us a better area of application for the filler. So we're gonna apply the filler nice and thick, and we're gonna sand it down to the contour of the hood. We gotta wait for this all to dry, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Been more than 24 hours. This is fully dry now. This is ready for filler. We need to go prep this with 80 grit sandpaper before we do any type of work on it. So that's the only annoying part. Again, we did knock down this area right here. I sanded these parts down off camera because they were pissing me off. That's about it. That's good enough.
Now it's time for the hardest part, doing the Bondo. This is about the second time I've done Bondo in this car, and this is the first time I'm ever using this Bondo glass stuff. It is very tacky and sticky, but the good thing is it adheres to the metal very, very well, and it conforms to the shape really, really well. I did want to mention before I get flamed in the comments, this is my first time working with Bondo, period, so if I'm doing a good job, please let me know in the comments down below. I really appreciate any type of feedback I get.
So that's the first coat. I got a little bit down there.
Now it's time to apply some filler to the spots that had dents in them that I banged in.
Again, it's not meant to look very pretty right now because this is just the first coat and the sand is down. Put another coat of Bondo glass on there just to really get it level. It already is kind of taking shape on the hood, which I really like, so there shouldn't really be an issue. So I just hope it turns out super good.
Now with the filler fully dry, we're now able to sand it down and get it to the contour of the roof. Sanding the filler is a particularly very important part of this job. Just to get it nice and flush with the whole roof's curvature and the roof shape is very important, just because if we put paint on this right now with the craters that are currently in it, you'll see all types of imperfections. It'll just look horrible. So this will also prove if we need to add another coat of fiberglass filler over top.
We're gonna have to do another coat of filler, 110%.
After finally getting my hands on an actually decent shop vac, I managed to knock over the tripod, so you can't really see it in action. But this did an amazing job at sucking away all the Bondo dust that sanding has created. So that helps the new fiberglass filler that we're going to go put here to fill in all those gaps and adhere strongly and not have flakiness or any type of popcorning of any type.
So we're gonna go fill these incredibly low spots right now. It's almost taking shape. It's almost there. It's just those are fiberglass filler moments, and I don't like fiberglass filler.
Besides the sad truth of me having to formulate more fiberglass filler, it's fine. We have to apply it to fill in those low spots because, like I said before, if we don't, you're gonna see it. The trick is when applying this type of filler, you have to press really hard down to force any type of air bubbles outside the filler so it can kind of go on evenly and smoothly. This also helps sanding a lot.
Boom, last coat of filler's on there. I did add a bit more, as you guys can tell. It looks very level. I just gotta blend it into the panel more, which I don't mind at all. So that's okay with me. Obviously I did forget to sand here like a dum-dum, but again, I don't mind waiting. I'm not in a rush. So we're gonna wait for this to cure and we can continue working.
So me having about 40 things on my mind, I completely forgot about this side. So here's me working on it and sanding it down, making it a level surface so I can put more filler onto it. For this side, I did decide to put another coat of fiberglass filler just to even everything out and to fill in all types of pinholes. You're meant to use glazing putty for this, but I decided to use fiberglass just to give it a little bit more rigidity because, again, we do have bigger dents on this side because of rock chips and all that type of things. Spoiler alert, this is completely useless. I just did this for the comfort of myself. I don't know why. It extended the time by a lot. Now in hindsight, I recommend using some type of lightweight filler to do this just so it's easier on the sanding part. After about 6 hours of waiting, I'm back again sanding the passenger side, and we just want to get this fully level with the roof again, just for an easy access for lightweight filler and obviously glazing putty afterwards. As you can tell, it's kind of a mix of sanding, then vacuum, sanding, then vacuum again, just to prevent any type of clogging inside the sandpaper, because if we have clogging inside the sandpaper, it's just going to sand it uneven as well. So we're just trying to avoid any type of issues that can happen with the sanding process, and this just helps amazingly.
Tomorrow.
Okay, it's the next day. I had to take a break. My brain was getting absolutely melted by sanding for about 4 hours. So I drew these lines here. These are the low spots, and these are the high spots right here. I'm gonna go draw some lines in them so we have some progress marks. Alright, let's start sanding again. And then as soon as we get this done, we can finally get started on a lightweight filler on this side. And then we're basically smooth sailing from there.
If you are planning on doing this, I highly recommend getting a DA. Doing this by hand was an absolute pain in the ass, and I'm not gonna lie, I go to the gym every day and my arms were so sore. So I recommend using a DA or some type of rotary tool to finish the job here. I wouldn't use an angle grinder though. The reason why I'm sanding here in the first place is because I noticed some filler inside the windshield channel, which can't be there. It has to be all smooth, because if there's filler there, it's going to raise a bump and the urethane won't seat it correctly. So we need to go eliminate that and make that flush. I decided to ditch the sanding block for over here just to get a better form to the roof curvature. That's about it. Now I'm just fixing some areas that I had to sand off the rust reformer on. It's fine, I'm just reapplying it in a very thick but thin coat at the same time, just to kind of get a good adhesion, because again, we don't want this to rust and we want it to be a workable surface.
This is fully sanded. We got to put lightweight filler in this whole vicinity here to fill up all these pinholes. I still got to sand this area a bit more. It's still a bit groggy. So let's get to work.
When I sand, I generally like to go all over the filler and spread it more into the existing clear coat and paint, just to kind of have a better transition into the Bondo. I hope it turns out good, because if it doesn't, I'm gonna look like an idiot online.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it like that. I still got to do a lot more sanding with lightweight, but that is like 30 times better than it was before. It's super smooth. Blends into the panel design a lot more than it did. Look at the status of my dash. There is Bondo dust everywhere. So this is awesome.
So now with the fiberglass filler fully sanded down and blended into the panel, you can get started on the painting step. But before we can even start painting, we need to lay down our lightweight filler to fill in any type of small little holes that can get seen by the eye. Lightweight filler is a lightweight based filler that's like fiberglass filler but does not have the same structural integrity. It sands down smoother and typically has a better result compared to painting on straight fiberglass filler. The filler I use is just standard Bondo body filler, but you could use Bondo premium gold filler to have a better smooth finish.
That's lightweight filler. And if that gets sanded down evenly, it's gonna turn out nice and smooth.
Now that we're waiting for our lightweight filler to cure, we can get started on the other side and sand down the fiberglass filler we placed before. I don't plan on showing all the footage for sanding, as this video would be about an hour long, but I'm just trying to show you what I did at the end of the day. Now that I have it fully sanded, I get a permanent marker and label where I need to go put lightweight filler.
Alrighty, welcome back. It's been about a day. It's rock hard. We're gonna go at it again with more 80 grit. We want it smooth, and then we're gonna move on to 220, and then we can finally get started on the other side. We're gonna go lather some glazing and spot putty around all the areas here, very thin layer, just to get all these little small crevices filled. We're gonna put a healthy dose onto our spreader, and we're just gonna start putting it on all the low spots. Okay, dokes. This looks really messy right now, and that's just the reason. It's just because I want to apply a little bit thicker. I'm thinking about going 220, then 500, and then that should be good enough for primer. And then we'll sand down the primer at 500 just to have a good adhesion for the base coat.
Now it's time for lightweight filler on the driver's side. I apply it the exact same way that we did to the passenger side by pressing down pretty hard to force out any type of air bubbles inside the filler.
Okay, this is dry now. I only have 220 grit. This should be fine. It's a little bit more abrasive. I have 400 next, so I'll knock it down, knock down some of the high spots, and hit with 400 to smooth it out.
I did find a little bit of a low spot, so I filled it in with more glazing putty.
We're gonna go work on the other side and sand that down with 80 grit. Boom, there we go. We have that side fully sanded down. It's ready for a little bit of spot putty, and then it's ready for primer. We're going again with 220 grit, smoothing it out. We want to make this part level. We want to make the low spot that we had here kind of disappear. If we still see anything that we don't like, we'll just add more of the glazing putty. But let's get to work. 220 grit, sanding block. Let's go.
What I'm filling here is a pretty huge low spot, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some lines where I don't want to add filler, and we're going to go put some filler in this area. Now that the sanding is done on the driver's side, we can apply spot putty to areas that need it, and we can smooth it out with our spreader. After waiting about a couple hours, we can finally get started sanding on the passenger side again, and finally getting this to form to contour the roof, and we can almost get started on primer after this is done.
And now we're gonna go get the primer. 3, 2, 1, boom.
We have the masking here to prevent any type of overspray on the good clear coat and paint, and it also just helps feather in the paint so we don't have a hard tape line. So whenever we do wet sand and buff, we're not gonna have to do a ton of wet sanding to blend the paint. It'll just all blend naturally because we'll have a feathered paint line. For the first coat of filler primer, we ideally want to go pretty light and getting a more even dusting on the panel instead of getting it fully covered in color. By doing this, we can get even coats all around for all 3 primer coats that we're going to be doing.
And that's it. It looks pretty decent, but it's because it's wet. Okay, I moved the camera, but it's been about a day, a little bit more, and this has time to fully cure. And as you can tell, it feathered in the paint line really well. There's a little bit of spots here that didn't get filled in quite the way I wanted them to, so I'm gonna fix that. Fill that in. We're gonna hit this side with a 220 grit on a sanding block, just like how we did that side and prepped it. And we're just gonna go nice and even strokes. And like I've been saying, just to go nice and soft, not pressing down into the filler to cause any type of erratic motions or any weird anomalies. We just want it completely straight so we go nice and smooth. And this is very easy to sand off. Now that we're done sanding with Bondo and everything, we gotta clean off the area and prep it for paint. We're using isopropyl alcohol and a microfiber cloth, just like always, to really clean off all the area of all dust, grease, grime, and oils. All right, it's been 20 some minutes. This is dry now. Let's sand it down, make it flush, and paint.
I'm sanding down this area with 220 grit on the sanding block just like before, but I'm just going a little bit softer because this is glazing putty and I am on primer. After sanding it down, I found a little bit more abnormally, so I'm adding more spot and glaze putty to fill in the area and make it smooth. After waiting about 20 minutes, I'm able to sand it down and get it ready for another 2 coats of primer. With it fully sanded down and cleaned up, we can finally get started on the filler primer one more time in the fixed area, just to finally cover all that up so it doesn't show up in the base coat. Now with the driver's side completely cleaned up, we can finally get started on filler primer and do 3 coats of this to fully cover the area in primer.
Okay, how's it going? It's been a really long time. I want to say it's been about 4 or 5 days. It's all primered. It's all gonna get sanded down now with 800 grit. We're gonna sand it all down and then we're gonna go paint it with base coat.
Sanding down the primer is very similar to sanding down the spot and glaze putty. You don't typically want to put a lot of force into the primer. Basically what we're doing is we're blending it into the top clear coat, as you can see me doing right now, which helps the wet sanding process a ton and helps the base coat also adhere better. When applying the masking, we typically want to go put it away 2 inches from the area that we sanded from the clear coat to allow for a pretty decent air gap for error. This also helps us as we get to overlap some of the good paint with the new paint so we can blend it in easier when we buff. This also goes for the driver's side, which we're applying the exact same rule of thumb when it comes to masking. Now it's time for the moment of truth. It's time to use my $50 aerosol spray can to spray on my new fixed area. And I'm telling you what, I was feeling some type of nerves today. I had to go spray this on and I had to get it mint for the first coat because God forbid it looked horrible. This would all be for nothing. That's first coat. We're gonna let this dry to a matte finish. In the meantime, I'm gonna work over on this side. Same deal over here, but I'm gonna explain it a little bit better. Basically, what we're gonna do is do a light coat, put an even coat around all the fixed area and getting it all on the primer, but we're not trying to get a full color coat in this. We're just trying to get a dusting instead of getting a full color coat. After waiting about 20 minutes, we're now getting started on the second coat of base coat on the passenger side. And as you can tell right now, it dried to a fully matte finish and we're just covering it over top. We want this one to be a little bit more heavier, so I'm being a little bit more liberal with the paint usage. This also goes for the driver's side. It's just I'm not fully showing the video as it's identical to the passenger side. After waiting about 20 minutes, I noticed there was a line on the top. It looked like a Bondo line, so I decided to go put a little bit more paint in that area just to see if that'll go away. The unfortunate thing, it'll be very prominent until we put clear coat and wet sand and buff that area, which is a bit unfortunate, but it's fine. It's just a little spot that we're gonna have to go over. Driver's side is the exact same, doing an exact duplicate as the passenger side.
2 hours later.
Yeah, so as I imagine, you're gonna see the little bit of white line there. Maybe it'll get wet sanded out whenever we blend the paint. It should be fine. I'm not really concerned about it, but I am kind of concerned about it, if that makes sense. So I'm just using normal Trimclad clear. I have it inside of a pre-workout container. I'm just gonna let this chill like this for like 2 more seconds. What this does, it prevents orange peel after it dries. We're doing 3 coats of clear. This is UV resistant non-yellowing clear. Again, if it yellows, I'm not going to be surprised. This whole roof needs a resto, so I'm not really concerned about the paint. I'm going to end up getting on top of the dash again, and we're going to spray.
As you guys can clearly tell, this can is spraying like shit. This nozzle on it is horrible, and if you are planning on doing this and using Trimclad clear coat, I recommend getting an aftermarket spray nozzle that has a fan pattern so you don't end up with this amazing pattern.
This nozzle sucks.
I accidentally forgot to record the driver's side clear coating, but it's okay, you guys get the point.
A few moments later.
Okay, it's been about 2 weeks since I've painted this with the clear coat, and it turned out really good. There is a little bit of a line there. You can almost see it if you get the light like dead on it, but I feel like that'll come off when we polish it. This side is just as good. Can't really see any type of Bondo line in any light. I guess you can see one kind of right there, but it's fine. That'll probably come out when we buff it. I'm not really concerned about it, to be honest.
Now that our roof is semi-complete, we need to get started on the other problem at hand, the driver's side quarter panel. This quarter panel isn't as bad as it looks, but we still need to bring it down to a fresh metal surface so we can apply some filler. Unfortunately, footage did get corrupted for the applying of the filler on the quarter panel, but it's alright. This is what it looked like, and now the footage you're about to see is me sanding it down.
We got a sand right here, so let's do that. We're gonna sand this down so it's flush with the other paint, and we're good. So this transition basically meant we have a bit of a low spot right here, which I might have to either put more glass filler, and we also have a very big gash here. I'm just trying to transition it into this Bondo. I don't think it's going to turn out well. We might need more glass filler on this side. So for the inside, I'm going to go knock it down with the same hammer I used on the hood, using the ball peen side, and I'm going to go lower it down in the rusty spot so I can put a little bit of Bondo there.
What we're doing is very similar to the windshield. We're just denting in the area so it has a place for the filler to go in, and we could sand it down flush with the existing metal.
Now we're going to reform it because this spot I can't get fiberglass filler into. This will kill the rust and it should do a good job. But before we apply any type of reformer, we got to do some IPA to clean off the area. Open our rust reformer up after I've shaken it for about a minute, and we're going to give this a coat.
Now with reforming out the way, we can get started on one more thing, and that is our lightweight filler. Our lightweight filler is our next step because we have to go get it ready for paint afterwards. What this lightweight filler does is exactly what I said before about the roof. It adds an easier to sand, smoother filler that acts more like a metal, and when it's painted and clear coated, it looks so much better than if you were to use fiberglass filler.
Okay, we're gonna get the sanding here, same way that we did before. We're gonna go at even strokes, same as the roof. Get to work. It clogs it so bad. Okay, and that's as good as we're gonna get the lightweight filler on this side. We gotta go do the inside of the door thing here, the door jamb. And now I wanna go fill this area with spot putty. A little bit of spot putty, and we're just gonna go at it really thin, fill in those really small holes. I have 220 on a sanding block, and we're gonna go sand this down to make it flush again. We just have to get started on the door after all of this. And that works. Pretty decent low spot right here. Again, we're just gonna fill it in pretty thick with some glazing putty and hope for the best.
After about 2 hours of waiting for the glazing putty to set, we're gonna go sand it down with 220.
There is some low spots right here and here and here. You guys can't really see it. This is what we got going on here. This transition is seamless. There's no problems over here. I do have a little bit of blending to do, but what we're gonna do is I put it a little bit thicker right here. So whenever I sand it down, it'll fill those spots fine. It should be fine. I'm not really concerned about it. After all that is completed, we need to go put a bit of filler right here because I sanded a bit down. After letting the windshield guy know that the windshield can get put in, he came by with the windshield ready to put it in. The first thing that we have to do is lay the urethane on the windshield itself to attach the windshield molding directly to the windshield. Now that that's complete, we can get started on the windshield channel. He applies the urethane directly towards the windshield channel in a triangle form to create a bead on the windshield channel so the windshield can sit in it. Now that the urethane application has been completed, he can attach the windshield to a special tool and lower it down onto the urethane. Now the windshield is successfully installed, he applied tape to the roof so it stays on. This also restricts all movement of the windshield so it can't move. We have to have this tape on here for about an hour. After having the windshield off for so long, seeing it on is such a great sight. Now I'm pulling out my car to go pull it back into the garage so we have an easier accessible work area or the quarter panel. So it's been over an hour, so we gotta take off this tape now. And I kinda wanna pull it, so then I stretch it instead of getting the marks. Man.
Spoiler, I got marks on the paint, so I got to wet sand the clear coat even more aggressive on this side. We are now applying the A pillars to the interior of the car.
Quick and dirty refurb job on these. Yeah. Here's the other one. Okay, windshield wiper test.
Now that the roof is slightly finished and the windshield is finally in, we can get started on the quarter panel once more. We have to apply a lightweight filler to the door now, so let's get on to that.
So with this whole project, I've used the whole can. All 397 grams of it have been used. This is going right into the garbage now. We're gonna hit this down with 80 grit on a sanding block, just how we did everything else. And we're gonna try to get this even with the other Bondo. So unfortunately, this trim piece is going to come off. It goes on with glue. I have 3M tape, which I'm just going to put on the bottom. But to take this off safely, we're going to have to spray some alcohol inside, because if I just remove it, it's going to tear. Because when we paint this can't be here, or else it's going to get primered.
Now that we're done sanding the lightweight filler with 80 grit sandpaper, we can get started on the glazing putty by just putting it on directly onto the panel and then spreading it with the spreader.
Now that the spot putty's been filled, we're going to wait for this to dry. We're going to sand it down with 220.
12 o'clock midnight.
I want to go take off this piece of trim now. I don't want to break it. We're gonna go give this a nice uniform sand with 220, and let's do that.
During this sanding process, it took about 20 to 35 minutes to sand down everything, and I went down to roughly around the same bare metal that we started with. And the reason why I did this is just to have a better uniform finish, so whenever we do lay primer and eventually base coat, it looks even and matches the whole panel. If we didn't do this, you'd see a big hump of Bondo, which wouldn't make it look too professional, and to me personally would not fit my standards.
Yeah, that's not bad. So, boom, there you go, it's all masked. Now we're gonna hit with filler primer. And I am nervous, man.
Unfortunately, this shot got absolutely ruined by me shoving my ass towards the camera because I couldn't get the paint angle right. Doesn't really matter, the other two coats are fine.
I decided to do the door today too, so I just masked it off real fast, off camera, and I'm gonna go hit it with some primer. We have officially primered the door as well as the quarter panel. We'll be back now when we can sand this down tomorrow. So before I touch any of this paint, before I sand it down, I want to get rid of all this here. So I'm going to go quickly get my drill with a rubber wheel, and we're going to clean them all off. Now that we have a drill with a rubber wheel on it, put this on 2, and we're just going to go like this. So, I cleaned off this area pretty well dry. I want to go spray some isopropyl, and then I want to go give it one final clean. Now that this is fully clean, I'm going to get my sanding block and sand this down with 800 grit.
This is the exact same thing as the hood when we did the primer. Just kind of want to go not super hard into the primer so we don't burn it. We just want to go very lightly over top of it. So we just sand down the top coat and we get it even with the clear coat right next to it. This also helps us when we paint it so it can blend in easier when we buff as well.
So the spots that got fucked up whenever it got painted are really showing. They feel like low spots. I'm gonna go put glazing putty in them. Put some there, put some there, put a little bit there. Get a spreader. Put it on thick so we have a bigger area to sand and it comes out more even. We're gonna go sand this down with 800 grit, get it smooth just like this.
Unfortunately, this is the last clip I have of this. I did find some spots that revealed whenever I did sand the panel, and I filled them in with glazing putty, and now I'm going to be sanding them down and applying more primer to the areas. I am sanding the spots with 220 grit on a sanding block.
Now that it's all masked off again, I'm gonna hit it with 2 coats of primer, not 3, because there's already 3 coats on there and it's just slightly sanded down. So I'm gonna get a rag, spray some isopropyl on there. Go like that. That's all over spray. Okay, so after waiting a little over a week or 2, I sanded this panel down off camera. This is all sanded down, it's all even. We're gonna have to give it a clean, and then we're gonna go put base coat over top of it. And now, I'm gonna get some isopropyl and I'm gonna clean the area again. I don't want to use all this paint. I have about maybe an ounce left. I don't really know, maybe 2 ounces. I have no idea. I have to hope that this covers this whole area, but I have to also be careful not to get it too high into the good paint. All right, here it goes.
I would like to do this the exact same way that I did the roof because that came out almost amazing. So we want to keep doing that way by doing light but heavy coats at the end, and it turns out always great.
Same deal with the door. I masked it off camera, and now I'm gonna go hit it with some base coat.
Now while the second coat is drying, I want to go remove the blanket that I had covering the interior whenever I was painting the quarter panel. It's not on video, but I am trying to do this as safe as possible because right next to me I do have wet paint. So let's see what happens.
And I ruined the whole paint job.
Yep, you heard that perfectly. I ruined the whole paint job. All because I rubbed my leg whenever I was moving the blanket to cover the interior whenever I was painting. The only reason why I'm showing this in the first place is just to keep this 100% pure and show you guys what can happen in real time whenever you paint your car. A can of my paint in specific, because it is a metallic type, is $60 per can by Scratches Happen on Amazon. Luckily, I found a local paint shop that can help me with this, and they offer a way better price than the one on Amazon, which helps me a ton.
Third coat, I went a little too heavy too.
And yes, unfortunately, you are hearing that correct as well. I did go way too heavy on the second coat, causing a crazy paint drip line. So we're gonna have to redo both of these spots.
Done. So a bunch of lines in the paint. It's been an hour, and I have bad news, unfortunately, which is a really weird change. I don't really do this type of thing. It's normally always good news. We have crazy splotching. I don't know if you guys can see that on the video. It looks horrible. We have a huge paint line right here from dripping paint, which I guess I went way too heavy, and you could already see the next step. The sanding scratches on the quarter panel are nuts. You can see every single scratch. So the remedy to fix this issue is to completely redo these spots by sanding them down with 800 grit all the way down to the primer again. And then we're gonna have to reapply filler primer, reapply base coat before we can ever get to clear coat. So we're back to square one, unfortunately, but this does not stop us, and we're gonna keep going.
For this, I'll speed this up so you guys don't have to look at everything, but essentially we're doing the exact same thing all over again. So we're gonna start by sanding this down. After that's fully sanded down and we ensure that there's no more scratches, we're gonna apply base coat for the final time. The good thing is we get to skip the filler primer part because we didn't have to sand down to the bare filler. This does help drastically as that avoids that whole step and we just get to do base coat and then clear.
Done. Okay, that looks so much better. It's been a half an hour. We're gonna spray clear on it now. You could kind of see the scratches, but I feel like it'll kind of go away whenever I set the clear. All right, we're gonna get started on clear now. Same deal with the clear. Have inside of a pre-workout container with hot water, and it's been sitting in there for about 10 minutes. First coat of clear.
I am using a different spray nozzle, as you guys can tell. I got this at Canadian Tire, and the link is in the description as it has multiple modes and it helps a ton when spraying clear.
There you go. All right, this car is an absolute fucking mess. I don't know if it shows up on video, so let's clean it up. Boom. This is an 8-inch dual action polisher and waxer. Now that that's ready, we have our compound. We're using Ultra Cut Compound by Meguiar's. This will literally get rid of everything. This should be fine. And now, let's get to wet sanding and getting these panels fully done. I have 1500 on a rubber sanding block. Got some soapy water. We're gonna douse this paper in soapy water, douse the panel in soapy water, and we're gonna go all the way up like this, and I'm gonna put this in 0.5 so you guys can see all of it. 2000 grit. All right, guys, the whole roof is done. From far away, you can't really see, but from really close, you can definitely see the paint line, which absolutely sucks. I really thought that, you know, what I did was right, but I guess I skipped a step or something. I'm really convinced it's the clear coat, so I am gonna go redo this next year. But as you can tell, whenever it's not focused, you could barely see the line. Alrighty, for this side, I'm using 1000 grit to hopefully get it down more even. I have no fucking idea what I'm saying or what I'm doing. I'm just going with the flow. That's about it. That's decent enough for $12 clear coat. All right. Well, welcome to the end of the video. I know it's been really long, but I hope it's kind of worth it at the end. Let's get some rundown questions going on here, and yeah. What would I do next? I would probably decide to choose a different clear coat. If I chose the 3K clear coat and I went and got that clear coat instead of getting like a Tremclad or Rust-Oleum, I feel like it would have matched better. Then again, it could have also been a paint error. It could also be a million other things. In my eyes, in my opinion, I feel like it's a clear coat error. If that's what it is, then, you know, next year I'll make another follow-up video redoing the clear coat, how to strip and redo clear coat. That will be the next thing that I would like to do. why did I do this in the first place? As you guys saw in the first of the video, I had water leaking into my car. So that is the main reason why this even happened in the beginning. I didn't have to touch the quarter panel. I did because my ADHD just would not let me leave it. So I had to touch it. So I did, and it looks sort of better now. I don't mind it. It all is one color, which is all I care about. There's no rust. I can't see it. Sorry, there's a cop right in front of me, and I'm trying to maintain my composure. For the roof, I kind of had to do it. Obviously, I could have left it as primer, left it as reformer, left it as this, left it as that, but I decided to fill it, do it proper, and not have that issue be in the future, if that kind of makes sense. So, in my eyes, is this a good fix? Kind of. It's hard to say. I'd probably say around 85% that yes, and then the rest say no. Reason being is just because I feel like I didn't spend enough time or spend enough money. Reason being is because I could have gotten the 3K clear coat. I could have splurged and got a pneumatic paint gun that connects to an air compressor. I could have got a paint booth. I could have got a professional to paint it. I could have did a million other things, but I decided to do it my way. My way is the cheap way, but not really cheap way. Was it worth it? I would say maybe yes or no. It's hard to say, especially with my results. I would need other people's opinion, and that's what you guys are for. If you guys like what's going on and like what I've been doing and kind of follow through and can give me pointers on how to fix the clear coat and how to blend it better and other wet sanding techniques, please let me know in the comments down below, because I would love to hear it and I want to know what I can do better. Again, this is my daily. This is just what I'm doing for fun. This is what I find for fun. Would I recommend this to beginners? 100% yes. Just do it right. I didn't do it right. I'm gonna be honest. I ain't responsible for your paint looking like mine. Get right clear coat, get right paint, or get a professional. This is how much I spent. I spent not a lot, but a comfortable amount. I did it myself and I learned a lot while doing it. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching, especially to the end, and to the people who did watch this hour-long plus video. Thank you guys so much. Please leave a subscribe, because I will be posting more videos on the box. I may have bought something that's a little bit more money than the car is worth, but I feel like it's going to transform it and make it so much better. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys hopefully in the next video.